In the next 7 days, Aries, you are going to be called upon in ways you cannot fully postpone anymore. Not the small, manageable kind of being called upon, the kind where you can say, not yet, or maybe tomorrow, or let me think about it a little longer. No. What is coming in these next 7 days is the kind of moment where life itself is leaning forward and asking you directly, what are you going to do? These are the decisions that shape chapters, not just days. The ones that, when you look back from a distance, you will recognize as turning points. As the moments where things could have gone one way or another, and you chose. Not every one of these decisions will feel enormous when it arrives. Some of them will come quietly, almost casually, dressed in ordinary moments. But beneath the ordinary surface, something significant is being asked of you. Your fire Aries, the part of you that moves and acts and initiates and leads, is being engaged. And the quality of how you meet these moments will determine the shape of what comes next. These 11 decisions are already lining up. They are already in motion, moving toward you with the same certainty with which the tide moves toward the shore. And when they arrive, hesitation will not serve you. Doubt will not serve you. The habit of waiting for a perfect moment that never quite comes will not serve you. What will serve you is what has always served you at your best. Clarity, courage, and the willingness to choose even when the outcome is not guaranteed. Decision 1. Whether to stay or walk away from something that no longer fits. This is the first decision because in many ways it is the one that has been waiting the longest. There is something in your life right now, Aries, that you have been wearing like a coat that no longer fits. Maybe it fit once. Maybe there was a time when it was exactly right, when it matched who you were and what you needed and where you were going. But you have grown. And growing is not a betrayal of what was. Growing is simply what happens when a person commits to living fully, to learning from everything, to allowing themselves to be changed by their experiences. The problem is that the coat is still on your shoulders. The situation, whether it is a relationship, a commitment, a role you have been playing, a version of yourself you have been presenting to a particular group of people, is still there. Still part of your days. Still taking up the kind of space that growing things need in order to grow. And the question that is arriving in these next 7 days is no longer whether it fits. You already know it does not. The question is, are you going to stay because staying feels safer than the vulnerability of walking away? Or are you going to walk away because the version of you that is trying to emerge cannot fully do so while you are still holding on to what no longer serves it? This is not a simple decision, Aries. Do not let anyone tell you it is. Walking away from something that was once meaningful, even when it no longer fits, requires a particular kind of courage, not the courage of confrontation or battle, which comes naturally to you, but the quieter courage of letting go, of standing in the open space that letting go creates, without immediately filling it with something else, of trusting that what belongs in your next chapter cannot enter until you have made room for it. The decision is yours. It has always been yours. But in these next 7 days, the energy around it is going to press more insistently than it has before. And the question you will need to answer, the one only you can answer, is whether you are finally ready to choose yourself over comfort, over familiarity, over the known, even when the known no longer grows you. You are. You have been ready longer than you realize. Now is the moment to act on that readiness. Decision 2. Whether to speak a truth you have been holding back for too long. There are words inside you, Aries, that have been waiting. They have been waiting in the place where you keep the things that matter too much to say carelessly, the things you have rehearsed in your head 100 times but held back from speaking aloud because the timing was never right, or the person was not ready, or you were not sure how it would land, or you were afraid of what would change once it was said. And something would change. That is always true with real truth. Once it is spoken, it cannot be unspoken. Once it is out in the world has to reorganize itself around it. And that reorganization can be uncomfortable, even when it is necessary, even when it is ultimately good. But here is what you also know, Aries. The weight of not speaking it is its own kind of damage. It accumulates. Every day the truth stays unspoken. It presses a little more on the inside. It takes up energy you could be spending on other things. It creates a quiet distance between you and the person or the situation it belongs to because part of you is always holding back, always managing, always staying a little bit behind the line of full honesty. You were not made to live behind that line. You were made for directness, for clarity, for the bold, clean movement of saying what is true and letting the consequences be what they are. In these next 7 days, the moment to say it is going to arrive. Not as a dramatic confrontation, unless that is genuinely what the situation needs, but as a clear, honest, direct expression of something that has been true inside you for longer than silence has been serving you. The decision is whether you take the moment when it comes or let it pass again. Whether you choose the relief of honesty over the false comfort of continuing to hold back. Your fire does not burn brightest when it is contained. Speak the truth, Aries. Not to wound, not to win, simply because it is real, because you are real, and because the people and situations in your life deserve the full version of you, not the version that has been editing itself into quiet. If what you are hearing feels accurate, know that it could happen if you applied this energy consistently for 21 consecutive days. That is the 21-day challenge pinned at the top of this channel. It is built around daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you are tired of staying in the same cycle, that structure is exactly what has been missing. Decision 3. Whether to trust someone who is asking for another chance. Trust, once broken, does not rebuild itself automatically. You know this, Aries. You have lived it. You have felt the particular kind of wariness that lives in you after a trust has been broken. The way your instincts stay sharper around a person who once let you down. The way you find yourself watching for the signs of something going wrong before it goes wrong. The way part of you wants to believe and another part of you keeps a measured distance just in case. And now someone is asking for another chance. Maybe they have been asking for a while and you have been considering it. Maybe this is more recent. A gesture, a conversation, a shift in their behavior that has made you wonder if something has genuinely changed. The decision of whether to trust again is not one that can be made with your head alone, Aries. Your head will give you arguments on both sides endlessly, because the head is designed to consider all possibilities and cannot decide for you between them. The decision lives somewhere between your gut and your values. Your gut knows whether what this person is showing you now is different from what they showed you before, whether the energy has genuinely shifted, whether the quality of their presence has changed in a way that is not performance, whether there is something real beneath the repair they are attempting. And your values know what you need in a relationship, what you can afford to open yourself to, what your fire needs to stay safe and burning rather than diminished and defensive. This is not about whether the person deserves another chance. That is a separate question, and perhaps a less useful one. The question that matters most for you, Aries, is whether extending trust again serves your growth, your peace, and your forward movement. Whether saying yes opens something real and good, or whether it returns you to a cycle that has already cost you enough. Listen to what is deepest in you. That answer is already there. Decision 4. Whether to take a risk that has no guarantee but feels right. There is something on the table, Aries, an opportunity, a possibility, a direction that has been presenting itself to you with a quiet but persistent energy. And the thing about it that has been making you hesitate is that it does not come with a guarantee. There is no certain outcome, no insurance, no way to know in advance that it will work, that it will go the way you hope, that the investment of yourself, your time, your energy, your hope will be returned to you in kind. And you have been standing at the edge of it, looking out at the distance between where you are and where it might take you, and feeling the particular tension of being someone built for action who is suddenly not sure whether to act. Here is what you need to hear, Aries. The things worth having almost never come with guarantees. Guarantees belong to the small and the certain, to the safe choices, the known quantities, the options that will not surprise you because they cannot. They are fine, those choices. They are useful. But they are not the material from which your most important chapters are made. Your most important chapters have been built from moments exactly like this one, moments where you could not be sure, where the outcome was open, where you had to decide based on something other than certainty, based on sense, based on alignment, based on the feeling in your body that says, this is the direction, this is right. That feeling is not random, Aries. It is your fire pointing at what it was made to pursue. It does not guarantee success. Nothing does. But it guarantees aliveness, the feeling of actually being engaged with your life, of actually choosing your direction rather than being carried by circumstance. In these next 7 days, decide. Not from fear of what could go wrong, but from the recognition of what you know to be right. The risk that feels right usually is. Decision 5. Whether to rest or push through a moment of exhaustion. This one might seem smaller than the others, Aries, and that is exactly why it matters so much. Because you are the kind of person who treats rest as something to earn, something that comes after the work is done, after the goal is reached, after the problem is solved. And the problem with that approach for a fire sign like you is that the work is never entirely done. There is always another goal, another challenge, another situation that needs your energy and your focus and your willingness to push. And so you push. Day after day you push. Because you are built to move, built to act, built to generate and create and overcome. Pushing is what your fire does naturally. But fire also needs fuel. And lately, Aries, your fuel is running lower than you have allowed yourself to admit. The exhaustion you are feeling is not weakness. It is information. It is your body and your spirit telling you that they have given a great deal, that they have operated at high capacity for a long time, and that what they need right now is not more pushing, it is rest. Real rest. The kind that actually restores rather than the kind that merely pauses before resuming the pace that drained you. In these next 7 days, the moment of decision will come. Something will arise that will ask you whether you are going to push through or whether you are going to stop, honestly and without guilt, and give yourself what you need. The brave choice here, Aries, the truly courageous one, is to rest. Not to collapse. Not to give up. But to deliberately, intentionally choose your own restoration over the performance of endurance. Because a rested Aries is formidable. A depleted Aries is just burning through reserves. Choose wisely. Decision 6. Whether to protect your energy or give it generously to someone who needs it. You are not a selfish person, Aries. Quite the opposite. When someone you care about is struggling, when someone in your life reaches out from a place of need, your instinct is to give. To show up. To offer whatever you have, your time, your presence, your fire, your strength. It is one of the most genuine and beautiful things about you. But here is what is true right now. Your energy is not unlimited. It never has been for anyone, but right now, in this particular stretch of your journey, the reserves are not at full capacity. And someone in your life, someone genuine, someone who matters to you, is in a place where they need something from you. Something significant. Not just a casual check-in, but a real investment of your presence and your care. And so the decision arrives. Do you give generously, even knowing that doing so will cost you something you are not sure you can afford right now? Or do you protect what you have, knowing that protecting it means this person receives less than they may need? There is no version of this decision that does not require something of you, Aries. Giving costs you energy you need. Withholding costs you something in the heart. What matters is that you make the choice consciously. Not out of guilt, not out of the fear of being seen as uncaring, not out of the habit of always saying yes to others before you have said yes to yourself. Ask yourself honestly what you have to give that will not take from you more than you can replenish. Ask yourself whether this is a moment where showing up fully for another person is what your life is calling for, or whether this is a moment where showing up fully for yourself is the truer priority. There is wisdom available to you in that honest asking. Use it. If this message is resonating with your sign right now, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal at exactly the right moment. And you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support, whether as a subscriber or as a member of this community, is what keeps these messages alive. The ones that touch hearts, awaken minds, and transform lives. If this video has been making sense to you, drop in the comments the day you were born. Let us keep going. Decision 7. Whether to revisit a dream you had put aside or let it go completely. There is something you wanted once, Aries. Something you dreamed about with real fire, real intention, real belief in its possibility. And somewhere along the way, through the complications and the demands and the weight of everyday life, you set it aside. Maybe you told yourself it was just postponed. Maybe you told yourself you would return to it when the time was better, when the circumstances were more supportive, when you had more room to breathe. But the time kept moving, and the dream stayed where you put it, and somewhere in the back of your mind there has been a question you have not quite been willing to sit with directly. Is this still mine? Is this something I am going to pursue? Or is this something I need to genuinely release so I can stop carrying it? Both answers are legitimate, Aries. Revisiting the dream and pursuing it with fresh energy is legitimate. So is choosing to truly let it go, not with grief, but with gratitude for what it taught you and what it meant when it was alive in you, and then releasing it cleanly so the space it occupied can become available for something new. What is not serving you is the middle ground, the half-holding of a dream you are neither pursuing nor releasing, the way it pulls at the edges of your attention without being given room to breathe or the closure of being set free. In these next 7 days, you are going to feel the weight of this question more sharply than you have in a while. And the decision you make, revisit with full intention or release with full peace, will free something in you that has been waiting a long time to be freed. Trust what you know when you sit quietly with it. Your answer is already there. Decision 8. Whether to forgive, not for their sake but for your own freedom. Forgiveness, Aries, is one of the most misunderstood things in the human experience. People speak of it as if it is a gift given to the person who caused harm, as if choosing to forgive means choosing to say that what was done was acceptable, or that you are willing to continue with the relationship unchanged, or that the hurt did not matter. None of that is true. Forgiveness is not for the person who wronged you. Forgiveness is for you. It is the act of deciding that you will no longer allow the weight of someone else's failing to live in your body, to occupy your energy, to shape your present and your future based on something that belongs in the past. It is the act of unclenching, of releasing the grip of the anger or the grief or the resentment that has been taking up space in you, not because the person deserves it, but because you deserve to be free of it. There is someone, or perhaps more than one person, whose actions are still sitting in you in a way that has not fully settled. You have not been talking about it. You have been managing it, moving forward despite it, functioning around it. But it is there. And in these next 7 days, the decision of whether to genuinely forgive, to fully release, not to excuse but to unburden yourself, is going to present itself. Not as an obligation, not as a moral requirement, but as an invitation to put something down that has been heavier than you realize. Your fire burns better, Aries, when it is not also burning through old pain. Choose your freedom. Decision 9. Whether to change a habit that has been quietly draining your fire. There is something you do regularly, Aries, that has become so habitual you barely notice it anymore. It does not feel like a problem from the inside. It is just part of your routine, part of the texture of your days, part of the way you move through the world. But if you were to step outside yourself and look at it clearly, honestly, without the defense that familiarity creates, you would see that it is costing you something. Not dramatically, not all at once, but steadily, in small, consistent amounts that add up over time into a real and meaningful drain on your fire. Maybe it is a pattern of thought, a way you speak to yourself in quiet moments that is less kind than you would ever be to someone you love. Maybe it is a behavior, something you reach for when you are stressed or bored or trying to manage discomfort, that provides momentary relief but leaves you feeling less than you were before. Maybe it is a way you organize your time that keeps you busy without building anything, that fills your hours without filling your life. The habit is yours to know. You may already know exactly what it is, in the private space where honesty lives. The decision in these next 7 days is not whether to recognize it, you already recognize it. The decision is whether to finally, decisively change it. Not from a place of self-punishment, not from a place of shame, but from the simple, clear recognition that your fire is worth protecting, that your energy is worth guarding, and that you are allowed to choose differently than you have been choosing. You are Aries, and now is the moment. Decision 10. Whether to say yes to something that scares you in a good way. There is a kind of fear, Aries, that signals danger. And there is a different kind of fear, a lighter, more electric kind, that signals possibility. That second kind does not feel the same in the body, sits differently. It has a current running through it that the first kind does not have. It is the fear of the edge of something real, the fear of something that matters, the fear of a version of your life that is bigger than the one you have been living inside. You are about to be asked, or perhaps are already being asked, to say yes to something that carries that second kind of fear. Something that will ask more of you than what has been comfortable. Something that will require a stretch, a reach, a willingness to move into territory that does not yet feel familiar. And your instinct will be to pause, to assess, to make sure you are ready, to make sure the conditions are right, to make sure you are not making a mistake. But here is what you know deep in the part of you that has lived enough to have perspective. You will never feel fully ready. Readiness is not a state that arrives fully formed before the action. Readiness is what grows through the action itself. You become ready by doing the thing. You become capable by attempting the stretch. You become the person who can hold the bigger version of your life by stepping into that bigger version and growing into it as you go. Say yes, Aries, to the thing that scares you in the right way. Say yes because your fire was not given to you so you could stay safely small. Say yes because this is exactly the kind of moment your courage was built for. Decision 11. Whether to believe fully and without reservation that you are ready for what is coming. This is the decision beneath all the other decisions, Aries. Because every other choice in this list, whether to stay or go, whether to speak or stay quiet, whether to trust or protect, whether to risk or rest, whether to forgive or hold on, every single one of those decisions will be shaped by whether you believe at the core of you that you are actually ready for what your life is moving toward. And this belief is not something that can be handed to you by anyone else. Not by a reading, not by a message, not by someone who cares about you and wants to encourage you. It has to come from inside you. It has to be the kind of belief that is not dependent on circumstances going perfectly, on everything working out the way you hope, on the people around you affirming you in every moment. It has to be the kind of belief that holds even when things are uncertain, even when the road ahead is not entirely clear, even when there is still work to do and distance yet to travel. You have survived things, Aries. Hard things. Things that took more from you than you thought you had to give. And you came through them, not unchanged but intact. Not the same person who walked in, but a stronger, clearer, more genuinely yourself version of the person who walked in. That history is not nothing. That history is evidence. It is the record of what you are actually made of, underneath the performances and the plans and the fears and the hopes. Underneath all of it, you are someone who keeps going. Someone who finds the fire even when it has burned low. Someone who does not quit, not because you cannot feel how hard it is, but because something in you chooses over and over again to continue. You are ready, Aries. Not because everything is perfect. Not because all doubt has been cleared, but because you are here choosing, engaging, asking the questions that matter. That is what readiness looks like. It looks like you right now, willing to meet what is coming rather than running from it. Believe it. Fully. Without reservation. Because what is coming deserves the full, unguarded power of you believing in yourself. If this message resonated with your sign, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it always sends exactly the right signal. And you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support as a subscriber or as a member of this community is what keeps these messages alive. They are the messages that touch, awaken, and transform. If this video made sense to you, leave in the comments the day you were born. 7 days, Aries. That is what has been placed in front of you. 7 days that are more charged, more meaningful, more full of genuine turning points than a regular week. Not because the calendar made them so, because you are in a particular moment of your journey where the things that have been building are ready to be decided, where the energy that has been gathering around your life is asking for your active participation, your conscious choosing, your willingness to be the author of your own next chapter, rather than a passenger in it. And here is what you need to carry with you through these 7 days. Not every decision will feel monumental when it arrives. Some of them will show up as ordinary moments. A conversation, a chance, an opening, a quiet internal crossroads that no one else will even notice. But you will notice. And what you do in those moments will matter more than their size suggests. Because decisions made from your truest self, from your deepest clarity, from your fire fully engaged and your heart fully present, those decisions compound. They build on each other. They create a direction that becomes, over time, something undeniable. You do not need these 7 days to go perfectly. You do not need to make every single decision with flawless wisdom. What you need is to show up for each one honestly, to feel what you feel, to trust what you know, to speak when speaking is called for, and to listen when listening is what the moment needs. To rest when rest is required, and to act when action is what your fire is pointing toward. To be, in each moment, as genuinely and fully yourself as you can manage. That is enough. That is more than enough. Because when you move through life as yourself, not the edited version, not the managed version, not the version shaped by other people's expectations and comfort, you create something that cannot be created any other way. You create your own true path. These 7 days are part of it. Walk them with intention, Aries. Walk them with trust. And walk them knowing that every choice made from your authentic fire is a step in the right direction. No matter what it looks like from the outside. You are ready. You have always been ready. Now go.